Hello, my name is SinnerMan. This is my review on Spider-Man Across the Multiverse. This part of the video will be a non-spoiler part of my review, so if you want to skip ahead for the actual spoilers, had fun, like and subscribe, and let me know what you think. Honestly, off bat, the movie I will say is beautiful, stunning visually, and just so fun to watch. If you have kids or are a kid inside and out and you love Spider-Man, give it a watch. I guarantee you will have fun. They're bringing so many characters that if you follow Spider-Man throughout his entire life in media, that you will see something you're familiar with and will love. You will see Spider-Man from old to new variations in art direction, which each Spider-Man is lovely in. Like, they're cool to see. The movie's pretty fluid. The movie's pretty appealing to the eyes. Emotionally, it will take you on a trip. The movie will play with your emotions and make you question who's right and who's wrong. It's morality, get it? Morality versus logic, and I'm sure you guys can figure out who represents who. Now for the biggest thing that everyone wants to know about, the story. The story for me is a 7 out of 10 for my own problems with it. However, what they did with Origins and how they explained everything was very smooth and solid. However, the movie is pretty fast. The movie, when it gets to it, is very fast paced, slowing down to advance the plot for a few minutes and add a few more reveals, then back to the fast pace. So I don't know how you guys will feel about that, but for me, it was alright for a few moments until I realized this is really going really fast, but nothing is really going anywhere. Honestly, in my final thoughts on the movie in a non-spoiler way, is that you will have genuine fun with this movie. It is fun to watch. No matter what, every single part of the movie is fun. It'll get your heart pumping. It's lovely to watch visually. It's amazing. However, the movie is bloated, fast-paced, and the story is shaping up to end up in a subpar way. Cool and exciting, however, but the resolution may not satisfy everyone. I loved what they introduced in the movie, the rules and everything. However, what I think is going to happen is it truly makes me fear for what it's going to shape up story-wise. So for me, the movie is going to be an 8 out of 10, honestly. Okay, it's time for me to explain the spoilers. I'm going to explain a good bit of the movie. If you don't want to get spoiled, click off the video. Thank you so much for watching. Stay healthy, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Like and comment and subscribe. See you next time. Tell me what you think. Love you guys. Okay, I shall be explaining more about spoilers. I'm going to explain more of the movie. If you're still here and you don't want that, click off. If you're still here and want to listen to me ramble about the movie, then hello. All right. In the beginning of the movie, we get an origin recap of Gwen, and we see more of her relationship with her Peter, and we see how Peter becomes the Lizard and he passes away because of this. He gets crushed. Her father, thinking that her as Spider-Gwen killed Peter, and she has been getting chased by the police ever since, even more so. When the Vulture comes to attack a sort of museum or anything, Spider-Gwen finds out he's a Vulture from another universe and tries to take him down. When she's having trouble, Jess, Drew, and Miguel comes to the rescue. When Gwen gets a hold of her dad, gets held up by her dad, she reveals who she is, but her dad is conflicted but is semi-insistent on taking her in and arresting her. This helps Miguel, who didn't want to take her in, accept her, essentially, and take her to Spider-Man HQ. After we deal with Gwen, we go back to Miles. And Miles encounters the Spot Man, whoever, right? And he's trying to steal an ATM. They fight for a bit while Miles' parents needs him for a counseling meeting for him and for his future and apparently his story, right? So Miles ties up Spot and goes to the meeting, but Spot ends up escaping and he has to go while Miles' dad has to go as well because the Spot is causing a massive disturbance with everything. While fighting, Spot basically explains, oh yeah, you created me by hitting me with a bagel and it caused me to get into the super collider or the energy source for the super collider to explode and turn me into the spot. You ruined my life, blah blah blah. Casual villain stuff, right? And as he was explaining this, he accidentally kicked himself into himself, which is kind of funny. But Spot goes ahead and kicks himself into himself, ending the fight. This leads to Miles and Spider-Man, Miles as Spider-Man, to talk to his dad about himself and trying to get them to be more understanding that he is growing and that, he needs to apparently spread his wings. While Miles is trying to get cake for his dad's party for being promoted to captain, Spot realizes he can go to different universes inside himself, but he needs more power. He needs more power to do so. So he needs to go ahead and replicate the Alchemix accident, the Super Collider accident. Miles shows up to the party, but there is a big fight. He goes to his room, and then that's where we see in the trailers that Gwen hops into his room and they go out into New York. However, in the movie, Gwen is acting a little bit shady. She disappears to set down like a spider bot to go ahead and look at the area and see for any anomalies, blah blah blah. And after this, they go back to the party and talk, but Miles' parents doesn't seem to like her very much, and they kind of like come over and kind of make things awkward, which was kind of funny. But when the spider bot alerts Gwen to Spot's actions and stuff like that, she has to go, which confuses Miles and his parents, and this prompts Miles to go ahead and follow her. So Miles goes ahead and follows her, and he realizes that she had a job to do in his universe, and she wasn't supposed to see him, but she couldn't help it, and she goes to the location where Spot replicated the accident and is now in another universe. So she opens a portal, and Miles follows her again into the portal. When Gwen finally sees that Miles has followed her and he's basically like glitching out all over the place, that's when they meet that version of Spider-Man, and they chase Spot. They chase Spot to their version of Alchemax, and he uses a shield to separate them and the super collider that Spot is trying to cause an accident with. So with the shield, Punk Spider-Man comes in and breaks through it, and they all try to go ahead and fight and a fight Spot, but to no avail. Spot is getting more powerful. He can use his holes and everything to go ahead and full on just distract and beat up all the spider people. So Spot does cause the accident that causes the super collider to explode, which causes another massive explosion, right? This causes a canon event to go ahead and trigger or be done, right? And it is the canon event that the captain, who is the father of that versions of Spider-Man's that universe version of Spider-Man's love interest father, and he was supposed to die, but Miguel saves him in the end. However, things are not as peachy and nice as just saving a day and going off to go find Spot. The universe is now collapsing, and many other Spider-Men show up to try and stop it. That is when Jess Drew comes in, and she is pissed. And that's when they all decide to go back to Spider-Man HQ because Miguel ordered it to. This is where things get pretty fast. Miles is excited to see HQ. He is extremely excited to see so many spider people. But Miguel is definitely not excited to see him. Miguel explains to Miles that canon events happen to everyone, every Spider-Man, that needs to happen. If they are disrupted, it could mean the end of that universe and potentially the whole multiverse, as every universe relies on other universe to stay stable, like a web. Miles finds out a canon event in his universe is that his father dies. He wants to save his dad, but is stopped by Miguel. Everyone gives their piece on this, even Spectacular Spider-Man. Miles rejects this and runs away to this and it's now like basically a glorified chase scene. This is where it begins throughout the movie. Miles got his spider from another universe, and he is described as himself being an anomaly, as he was never supposed to be Spider-Man, and a spider that initially bit him was supposed to go to that Spider's original universe's Peter Parker, but because it didn't, that Peter Parker died, and that city is now in chaos. So with the full-on chase scene, there's so many instances where they go ahead and stop, explain things, exposition, and then they go ahead and run again, and it's a glorified chase scene. What can I say? Inevitably, Miles brings all the Spider people out of the tower of Spider HQ, and he goes ahead and makes his way back over there in camouflage, and he's trying to go back home, and he does go home. But because of this, Miguel sees Gwen as a liability and sends her home. Gwen goes ahead and confronts her father on everything, realizing her dad is a captain. However, he did not die. So people in the canon events who should die, but he quit, so he didn't die. The canon event, apparently it's not canon, or it didn't trigger something like that. Miles gets sent to his universe, or he thought he did, but he actually gets sent to the universe where the Spider originates from, and he meets his uncle and another version of him, and another version of himself, who in this universe is the Prowler. Then it gives us a cliffhanger and a to be continued, which completely surprised everyone in my theater and made everyone simultaneously just say, what? Like, that's it? So that's honestly pretty much the movie, and it is crazy that they went along with this, in my opinion. It's like, wow. Okay, this is my my thoughts on the story so far. I think for the most part it's good. The first one was very solid. The second one, this exact movie we're talking about, I enjoyed the rules of the canon and the multiverse. It all makes sense, right? Because obviously there's things in place that needs to happen. Look at Doctor Strange and him technically knowing all these little rules and stuff, like you can't mess with certain things. I gave this movie an 8 out of 10 just because of 1 point being deducted because of the to be continued and the cliffhanger, and another element is the story. I do not agree with the direction they went with and like what they're doing with it. Essentially, like it's not something I'm vibing with 100%. How I will explain this is with an argument against how I feel, which someone I discussed it with. This person explained that because Miles is an anomaly, that the rules of the multiverse does not apply to him because he's not originally a Peter Parker version, and that these canon events doesn't mean that these specific people like Gwen and his dad doesn't need to die. However, my point is that because in this specific movie they fully explained how canon and multiversal rules work, somebody has to die. If not, then are these canon events that flimsy to be changed and altered? So because Miles is quote unquote special, that he's not a quote unquote or like original version of Peter Parker, of Spider-Man, that the laws of the multiverse does not apply to him? How does that make any sense? How does this work? My issue is that if the rules are set in place, there is a society trying its best to mitigate the damage and keep things rolling. Since in Miguel's experience and even Peter B. Parker's experience, trying to change it or trying to do so cannot happen. But now since Miles is here, the rules don't apply. You cannot create a character for the sole purpose of being a cop-out way to explain these things just because you feel like it. It seems like the writers are themselves a multiverse and will say, well, it's okay. It's not really canon anyway. It can roll. But for everybody else, like they get hoed, they get screwed over. Like, how does this? How? Why? This is also why I think that they left on a to be continued, because they went ahead and wrote themselves into a wall here. It's a bit of a shame of the direction of like how they went ahead and made this movie towards. It would have been better, in my opinion, if they went ahead and went towards the direction of the Spider Slayers, where they are taking down Spider-Man, Spider people in different universes. Or even better, there is prime versions of Spider-Man's most heinous villains who team up to be the prime Sinister Six to kill to kill all Spider-Man. And to do that, they could just find Spider-Man Prime, main 616 Spider-Man, and kill him, and that right there will be an amazing story. Let's be honest, there is many different ways they could go about this, but the fate of the multiverse situation, and we have the multiverse in our hands, in our grasp. Like, I'm getting tired of it. Like, I'm getting tired of plots revolving about like everything being destroyed. Because if you really think about it, if you look in a different perspective, every other week the entire universe is about to explode. The multiverse is about to explode. Let's be honest here. There needs to be stories where it doesn't have to take the entire universe to be destroyed for these heroes to be in action. It could be as easily as their whole existence just trying to help out, or these Spider Slayers or the Prime Sinister Six going ahead and trying to hurt the people they love, trying to go ahead and eliminate their very existence. Not exactly the multiverse, but still. There are many other great avenues that could be way easier to implement the multiversal aspect in. That is just my opinion. I'm sorry if I got a little bit emotional. But I love Spider-Man. I want what's best for Spider-Man stories, and this exact story doesn't really agree with me, honestly. Okay, my friends. If you are still here and you went ahead and listened through my rant and a little bit of how I feel, then thank you for listening. And I'm a little bit sorry. Like, comment, subscribe. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Stay healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically, and I'll see you soon. Thank you ever so much.